Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo of Doc Sports here with your 2026 World Cup Team Preview Series. Today we are looking at South Africa. South Africa is sitting in Group A. Their nickname is Bafana Bafana, and they are currently ranked number 60 in the world. South Africa's odds to win Group A are currently sitting at plus 1,200, so 12 to 1. And their odds to win the World Cup are at plus 100,000. So I'm surprised, frankly, that they're even taking those bets at those types of odds. Before I get into their full team breakdown, I do want to mention to go over to DocSports.com for all of your World Cup needs, including written previews, the rest of my team preview series, as well as picks for this year's World Cup. I am really excited about the World Cup. I was one of the first handicappers other than Doc to ever release soccer plays at Doc Sports, and I've been exceptional at it. I'm having a winning soccer season so far in 2026. I've shown a profit in 6 of the last 7 international tournaments that I've released plays on. Think the Euro, the Gold Cup, the World Cup. I've posted 4 straight winning World Cups, and I'm 45-16 on my last 61 7-unit soccer plays. So I would love to have you on board. In fact, take advantage of the promo code WCWinners26 and you will get a discount on World Cup plays. Okay, South Africa. Let's do a little roster breakdown. Their best player is by far Lyle Foster. He's a 25-year-old striker for Burnley in the Premier League. He had 3 goals this season in the Premier League. And he had 10 goals for this team in qualifying. Now, Oswin Apolis is a winger, probably their most active winger on the left-hand side. He will be the one responsible for feeding Foster. Other guys that jump out are Ronwen Williams. He is the goalie and the team captain. Slight controversy here is that backup goalie Brandon Peterson has actually been better in the domestic leagues than William. But Williams is likely going to get the nod. So you never want to have goalie controversy heading into a World Cup, especially if you're an underdog team. Ronwen Williams did save 4 penalties in the Africa Cup of Nations shootout, so he has proven that he can get it done on the big stage. Listen, I'm going to butcher a lot of names in these previews, so I'm just going to go ahead and apologize now. But Mbekezli Mbokazi, he is a center back. He plays for the Chicago Fire here in the MLS. And this guy is a beast. He's 20 years old, and he's just a big, strong, has a ton of potential, could be a very good player, should be a 20-year-old starting center back, trying to anchor a defense that has had its struggles. Also, Olwethu Makhanya is another defender that plays in the MLS. He plays for the Philadelphia Union, who stink this year. And Makhanya may not make the team because he's on the younger side and he just may get squeezed out of the roster. But those are 2 defenders from NMLS that anyone that follows MLS will be familiar with from the South African side. Now, help or hindrance, we will see. But a lot of the guys on the South African team play for the Mamelodi Sundowns. They're the top domestic teams. That's their club team. That's one of the top teams in South Africa. They finished in 2nd place to Al Hilal in the CAF Champions League. So will that chemistry and cohesion from playing together on the Sundowns, will that carry over into the World Cup? We will see. Okay, breaking down their tactics. South Africa plays, and this is probably the most popular formation in the world. They play a 4-2-3-1, okay? Or if you want to call it a 4-5-1. And what that is you have your 4 defenders, you have 3 central midfielders. They play with 2 center defending mids, 1 attacking mid that sits higher behind the striker, 2 wings, and then your 1 striker up top. That's going to be Foster as their point man. Now, because South Africa knows that they're not as talented as these other teams, what they are most likely going to do is sit back, try and bunker down, and hit teams on the counterattack. Okay, how well that bunker holds up will determine how far South Africa goes in this tournament. In terms of their form, it's not been great. They did pull a pretty big upset qualifying over Nigeria in their qualification group. They beat them by 1 point. South Africa scored 15 goals and allowed 9. They also played Panama twice back in March in the international window. They lost 2-1, and they took a 1-1 draw in a game that saw them kind of go a different route. They played a slightly rotated side in that second match and were able to take a draw. Their defense has been shaky. I've kind of hinted at it, but they really have been leaky over the past years. They've allowed 10 goals in their last 4 matches, and they have conceded in 7 straight games versus real competition. They had a shutout against Ghana's B team, which I'm not counting that. When they play other equivalent World Cup caliber sides, South Africa has given up goals in 7 straight matches. So it does them no good to play that very heavily defensive counterattacking style if they can't defend or stop giving up goals. And as I mentioned, if they leak a few goals early, is that goalie controversy going to really come back and hurt them? In terms of World Cup history or trends, in the 2002 World Cup that was held in Korea and Japan, they pulled a draw, then had a win over Slovenia and a loss to Spain. And then, of course, famously was the 2010 World Cup, which South Africa, controversially, I might add, hosted. They took a draw 1-1 with Mexico in the opener. They lost 3-0 to Uruguay and then had a surprise 2-1 win over France. That was the France team. I think Netflix has a current documentary about it that just completely melted down, the one that quit training and was basically just a disaster. But South Africa has never made it out of their group in their 2 appearances, and they will be trying to do it now. In terms of injuries, off-field issues, just general karmic questions about this, I already touched on the goalie situation. That's not a big one. The other thing is just their coach. Their coach is a Belgian, Hugo Bruce. He actually led the South Africa World Cup group prior to them hosting in 2010. So they brought this guy out of retirement to come back and get them ready for this 2026 World Cup. And look, he's stubborn. He's not afraid to call out his players. He will criticize the soccer powers in South Africa. He's just a really outspoken guy. So if things don't go well early, how's he going to play in the locker room? He has a very direct attack. This team also had to forfeit a game in qualifying because they used an ineligible player. So there's a little bit of shakiness behind the scenes, but nothing that raises any major red flags. In terms of their schedule, South Africa will open the World Cup on June 11th against Mexico. And again, what is interesting about that match is that back in 2010, these are the 2 teams that faced off against one another to open South Africa's hosting of the World Cup. That was a 1-1 draw that Mexico got up early and then conceded late, and they kind of denied South Africa their big moment in the sun. Will they be able to return the favor against Mexico here? This one's going to be played in Estadio Azteca, which is a very, very difficult place to play if you're unfamiliar. It's at altitude. Mexico has fervent support, obviously, so they're going to have a massive, massive home field advantage in that game. Then South Africa is going to have to try and avoid the letdown, all the emotion of that World Cup opener in their second game against Czechia, the Czech Republic. They play them on June 18th, and then they finish up with South Korea June 24th. They will be underdogs in all 3 of these matches. In terms of predictions for the South African side, honestly, I think they'd be lucky to escape the group. I don't anticipate them advancing. They are the weakest of the 4 teams, and I think they're going to take a punch in the mouth from Mexico in that opener. Okay, and then Czech Republic and South Korea doesn't get any easier. I think this team will have one game where they maybe go back and forth with a team like the Czech Republic that I could see being a 2-1 or 3-2 kind of barn burner. But other than that, I'm not expecting a lot of offense from this team because I think that they're going to be spending so much time in their defensive third, and they just lack the quality of the 3 other opponents in their group. So that is your 2026 World Cup team preview for South Africa. Be sure to check back later for more as I break down all 48 teams in this summer's World Cup. Until next time, carpe diem and good luck.